everyone. Happy Friday. Joe here, Sports Grid TV. It's time for a Puck It with Joe. It's Friday, December 8th. I cannot believe how fast this year is flying by. We've got 3 games on the ice tonight. And if you watched last night's games, we definitely had some really solid matchups. We had Calgary be able to come back in their game last night. Phenomenal to see, especially if you hit both ways of that game with me. Now, there was definitely some opportunities to make some money last night that we missed and opportunities that we cashed on. So hopefully you guys got on the right side of some of those bets that I was riding with. Big shout out to each and every one of you for being here. We are live on Twitter, X, and TikTok, as well as on YouTube. So let's get some money here. Yeah, those goalie props coming in nicely last night, Thomas. Nice work on those. Okay, you guys, firstly, I have to say the Edmonton Oilers are playing today, and if Connor McDavid gets the hat trick, I told the Edmonton Oilers Twitter organization that I will buy a Connor McDavid jersey. So if all of a sudden you see me buying a Connor McDavid jersey, that's because he got the hat trick today. If you want to tail on that, that's plus 3,000. I really doubt it's going to happen, and that's why I kind of made that bet with them after I posted that picture of the Flames jersey saying the perfect jersey doesn't exist. Oh, wait, it does. That has it says Oilers suck across the back of a Flames jersey. It's number 22, so they shot back at me saying, yeah, the year of the playoffs, and we all know what happened in that year with the playoffs. So if Connor McDavid gets a hat trick, I have to buy his jersey, but I really doubt it's going to happen. I do think he's going to have a strong game, though, so we'll get to that game in a couple of minutes. Just Flames fans, don't hate me if I buy a Connor McDavid jersey. There's a whole story behind that. Okay, the first game we're going to kick off with the St. Louis Blues taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, this one, the Columbus Blue Jackets had to travel home after their game last night. They're coming in at plus 125, so on the second night of a back-to-back here. As a home dog, minus 150 for the St. Louis Blues. Total 6.5, minus 120 to the over, minus 102 to the under in this battle. Hofer is confirmed here for the St. Louis Blues, and we do have a goalie brought up from the AHL, Jet Greaves here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know how he's going to be, you guys. He's come up before, and, he's sitting kind of like same numbers as Hofer, so we could see a strong game out of him. You get these goalies come up, and I do get that people like to fade them, but I also like to go with them because I do think they have success in some circumstances. I just don't know enough about this young goalie. This isn't my favorite game of the night, but if I was looking at it, it's a home dog for me. And I know that the St. Louis Blues had a day off. They lost that last one to Vegas 6-3 on Wednesday. But I do think Columbus at home. Columbus on the back-to-back is a hard spot, though. They have been strong at home, 6-7-2. So not a positive record, but more positive than their road record here. And they're off that loss last night to the Islanders, 7-3. So they're still able to put up some goals on the Islanders. Now without Binghamton in net, because this is the first night of a back-to-back for the St. Louis Blues, I do have more faith in Columbus here with the backup goalie in for St. Louis. St. Louis is able to do a really good job of limiting the opponent's ability to score on the power play. On the power play. Their kills coming in at 78.3, so it's strong, and they also limit their penalties here. Best team in the league, limiting those penalties at 6.6 minutes out there on the ice. Now, looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets, their power play is pretty strong, but like I said, I do think the Blues will be able to shut it down a lot. It's coming in at actually, it's not strong at all, 13.8. I thought it was 23.8. It's 13.8. So not a strong power play here. Their kill, though, is sitting 4th overall in the league at 87.2%. They have limited penalties as well. They're only taking 7 minutes, just over 7 minutes, 7.5. So I think Columbus at home, I'm willing to jump on them here. I also look at Bon Jenner. The last game, for the Columbus Blue Jackets last night versus the Islanders, Bon Jenner had 5 shots on goal. It's only a matter of time before he connects. So you can look at his shots on goal in this one, but you can take him for the anytime goal, and that's what I'm going to hit. The anytime goal here for Bon Jenner coming in at plus 180. I do think he has the ability. You look at him on the season, 13 goals and 5 assists. So a total of 18 points out there. I think it should be a nice, strong night for Bonjenner in this one. This team does have the talent. They just have to start connecting. Johnny Gaudreau is so up and down. He only had one shot last night in that game. The game before he had 5. So which Johnny Gaudreau are we going to see? Johnny Hockey has to perform night in and night out. Adam Fantilli is on this team as well, and he's been strong for them. Now, when you look at how these teams have done versus each other, we have seen the St. Louis Blues win 7 of the last 10, including those last 2 games. Thomas has been strong for them as well. The St. Louis Blues, you can look at his assists. He seems to be an assist machine out there on the ice. He's coming in at minus 115, but neither of these teams really generate high-scoring offenses. So we look at the Blues here. They're averaging that 2.88 goals per game, and the Blue Jackets at 2.85. They're not getting very many shots. They're sticking right under that 30 shots on goal per game. And I do look at this one as one where, although we have weak defenses on both sides of the puck, I'm torn with this total of 6.5. Are the St. Louis Blues going to drop back and try to play a really strong defensive game? Because we know in some of these games they've won, we've seen more defense out of them. Big shout out to everyone over there on TikTok. Thank you so much for being here. Harder to see your comments as we are live on other platforms, but definitely keeping an eye on those as well. The Oilers are absolutely going to kill the Wild tonight. We are going to get into that one. People think I just hate on the Oilers. Well, I do, especially when they play Calgary, but I will bet them. You guys know that. I don't like anything about this. Yeah, and I don't like anything about this game really at all. I do think Bonjenner, I'm going to look at him for the anytime goal. I know you guys like Blues and the money line. Thank you so much, Tony. Appreciate it. I love the Edmonton first period over, and we're going to talk about that game as well. It's definitely a good place to hit. Let's make some freaking money, Groovy Caps. Okay, next game we have the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on, just give me 1 second here. Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Florida Panthers. I'm just trying to pull up my lines over here at FanDuel so I don't give you guys wrong lines. And if there's movement, I want to know why, because I don't want you guys to bet a bad line. So the Florida Panthers, it's still sitting the same, minus 162, plus 134 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Total 6.5. Now that's 6.5, minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. Look at this matchup here. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been struggling to score as of late. It's going to be interesting to see if they're able to score on the Florida Panthers. So the Florida Panthers have been strong, especially locking down defensively, limiting their opponent's ability to get these shots on goal. They actually are 3rd overall in the league, which I didn't think it was something we were going to see. Montour stepping back onto defense has been a huge improvement for this team. They are holding opponents to 27.3 shots on goal per game. The Pittsburgh Penguins are allowing 31.3. So if you're looking here at this matchup, I would look at the Florida Panthers for their ability to get those shots when they're coming in. This team is peppering goaltenders. 34 shots on goal is their average per game. Tristan Jarry is going to need to stand on his head. Now, when we look at Tristan Jarry versus the Florida Panthers, we have seen really strong trends, but we've also seen really strong trends for the Florida Panthers goalie in net tonight, Bobrovsky. And I actually trust Bobrovsky here on home ice more than I do Tristan Jarry. So looking at Bobrovsky, he's 16, 10, and 6 in 32 games in his career versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's got a 2.78 goals against average versus them and a save percentage of .912. When we look at the goals against average for Tristan Jarry versus the Florida Panthers, that number is hitting right in the 3s. So I do think, even though you look at their long careers in the league, Bobrovsky still has that home ice advantage. He has the advantage versus the Penguins over his career. And this Florida Panthers team is one that I trust more. I really like what we've seen out of the defense. And then we got to talk about this team offensively. Like I said, averaging 34 shots on goal per game. 3.08 goals per game. So they have been phenomenally strong on that side. Their kill is hitting at 80.2%. So elite kill here, 3rd overall in the league. So special teams wise, phenomenal. And then we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have a non-existent power play. Like, they're not converting on it, only converting at 9.9%. Yes, they've got a strong kill here, 11th overall in the league at 83.1, but I just can't trust them in this one. I want to be able to trust Sidney Crosby to come out here strong, and I do think if you're looking for one player to circle, you've got to circle him. But Florida, I think, is the way we have to go. Now, there is a tribute before this game to Patrick Hornquist, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Now, he played for both of these teams. He did win the Cup with the Pens in the 2015-2016 season and 2016 and 2017 season. But now he actually works with the Florida Panthers in the office staff, scouting and development side. So they're going to have this tribute to him before this. I think we're going to get both of these teams excited to have that tribute to him and come out very nice. Oh, I love people on TikTok. This is why I wonder what I do. TikTok people, have your comments, whatever. I'm not just scripted. You guys, I love the scripted comments. Okay, so we look at that. I think we're going to get the best out of both teams. Now, when we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here, they have lost their last 3 games. The last game to the Tampa Bay Lightning, that was a 3-1 loss. There's a road trip on deck for the Florida Panthers, and this is my only concern for the Florida Panthers. When we look at this team, the look-ahead spot for the road trip, they have the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday, the Kraken, the Canucks, the Oilers, and then the Calgary Flames. So 5-game road trip on deck. I do think, though, in this one, we'll see the best out of them in this matchup, and they will come out nice and strong. So where am I going to go with this one? My first instinct was to take the over in the full game, but then I started digging more into the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're just being so inconsistent. They've been giving away that puck, and their inability to score, and I especially think on Bobrovsky here, took me off that total. Now, I would lean to the over 6.5, but I don't love it. These two teams, when they combine, they do go over that total normally. But it's the Florida Panthers who I have the faith in. Looking at the Florida Panthers to go over their team total of 3.5 is where I'm going to go. That's coming in at -110. Their special teams has just been so strong. And I think this offense is really due to be able to convert on some of these high danger shots. I think we could see this being a 5-2 win for the Florida Panthers. I'm just hesitant on those 2 goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's why I'm staying up the full game total. I'll take the Florida Panthers a team total. And then I also think that you should look here at the first team to score in the first period. We know the Pittsburgh Penguins have been struggling to score. The Florida Panthers to score first in the first period is coming in at +105. And I tell you guys, looking at these games and breaking down how these teams do within that first period is becoming one of my favorite bets. That means that they can score in the first period. They just have to score first. They don't have to cover that puck line. Now, if you bet that with me yesterday, we did get that game versus Carolina. We got them in the first period as well as the puck line. We're not going to double dip on this one because Sidney Crosby, I tell you, the power of Sidney Crosby, I could see both teams scoring in the first period, hitting Bobrovsky quick. But otherwise, I'm going to stay off of it. Let's move on to the very last game, you guys. And make sure you hit that like, hit that retweet button over on Twitter. And hit the notifications because we will, I don't know what time we're going to be live tomorrow. So maybe OT. And yeah, Christopher, I could see this one going to overtime. This is going to be a tough fought battle. And that's why I don't like Florida in regulation. I do think they could cover that puck line if they decide to play a strong offensive day. It just depends on what we're going to get out of them. And that's why I like that first team to score in the over 3.5, because I do think no matter what, we get 4 goals out of the Florida Panthers. It just depends on how many and how much defense they play in this one. All over the Oilers tonight. Yeah, this is the game where we're going to go heavy on the Oilers. Happy Friday, everyone. It's going to be a great night on the ice. Now, okay, I told you about my bet there with the Edmonton Oilers on X. So I'm really hoping Connor McDavid doesn't get a hat trick tonight. But knowing my luck, he'll get the hat trick, and I'll have to buy the jersey after talking a little bit of smack about the Edmonton Oilers here. So he's plus 3,000 for the hat trick tonight. I don't recommend tailing me on this. You can take him for the 2+ goals. I do think he probably gets a couple goals in this one. Marc-Andre Fleury has been strong, though, for the Minnesota Wild. The Wild, though, on the back-to-back, getting shut out by the Vancouver Canucks last night. Now, that was a 2-0 loss for the Wild. They've had a really hard scheduling spot. They came to Calgary, and then they went out to Vancouver, and now to Edmonton. So it is hard. They're in Seattle on Sunday, and this is the second night. Like I said, they played last night at Vancouver on that back-to-back. So I do think Edmonton absolutely dominates this game from start to finish. There's a couple different things you can play around to parlay this one, because we know the Minnesota Wild, both these teams fired their coaches. So we've seen like new life out of both of these teams. We could still see the Wild keep this competitive, because I've always told you guys my trust in Edmonton is lacking because of their goaltending. And it's still Stuart Skinner in net. He's got a 3.03 goals against average and a .889 save percentage. Now, I give Edmonton full credit, and a lot of people don't realize this. As a Calgary Flames fan, I talk smack about Edmonton, but Edmonton is a solid team when their forwards play defense as well, playing both sides of the puck, getting those back checks in, the front check. They just need to play that kind of hockey. Connor McDavid can't just rely on his defensemen. He needs to step up in these games. So that's what they're doing right now. This team has been dropping their shots on goals allowed. They're now only allowing 29 shots on goal. And that kill is coming back a little bit stronger at 78.7%. Huge improvements on the power play as well at 26.3%. That's sitting 6th overall in the league. So we are seeing improvements here out of the Edmonton Oilers on the defensive side of the puck, giving more protection to Stuart Skinner. The Minnesota Wild have been on a tough trip. Like I said, this team, though, didn't play a lot of defense to start the season. We're seeing that come back around as well. They're still allowing about 30.4 shots on goal per game and 3.48 goals per game. Now, offensively, both of these teams averaging over 3 goals per game, with the Minnesota Wild at 3.22 and the Edmonton Oilers at 3.43. I just can't see the Wild off the loss to the Vancouver Canucks tonight having a hugely explosive offensive game in which their defense is able to shut down Connor McDavid and company. I really do think this is Edmonton's game in this one. Like I said, I'm loving that first goal and the first team to score that first goal. So if we look at Edmonton here to score that first goal, that's coming in at -105. You guys know how strong Connor McDavid is at getting that first goal. You could look at him as well for that first goal, or just see anytime goal here. I do think he comes out strong. Evan Bouchard, I'm going to take him 3+ shots on goal. That's coming in at +100. I like his ability to do that. Oh, and we got a birthday boy. Janmark hits his 500th game tonight and his 31st birthday for the Edmonton Oilers. I just found that out. So anytime goal for him is coming in at +550. Now, he's only had 1 goal on the season. So this is a huge long shot for assist. 3 assists came last night in that, or sorry, not last night, the last game versus Carolina. So he had 3 assists in that game. You look at him for the assist. I cannot find him anywhere on FanDuel for the assist or his shots on goal. I wouldn't take his shots on goal if you can find it. I'd take those assists or a sprinkle on the anytime goal at +550. You gotta love the storyline of a birthday boy out there. 500th game, 31st birthday. Give Janmark the goal at +550. I love it. So let me know if you like storyline betting like that. If you would have taken Hunter Henry last night for those anytime touchdowns, I tell you. Hey, from Antarctica, you are a long way away. How cold is it in Antarctica right now? That would have been a nice one on Hunter Henry. I was kicking myself. I had the first quarter. You guys all know how that went. Yeah, I think the Oilers on the puck line, Tony, is a great way to go. We got that Friday feeling. Let's make some freaking money. Connor McDavid over 1.5 points at +105. I do like that. Both teams to score. Absolutely, Johnny. I am taking both teams to score in the first period. This coming in at +150 in this matchup. The Minnesota Wild, you guys know, when they play Calgary, we bet them to get that first goal and to score in the first period. That's exactly what they're able to do. I do think they can do that on Edmonton as well. I'm just counting on Edmonton to get the first goal in this game, and then the Wild can get the second, because I'm going to take Edmonton first goal in the first period both teams to score in the first period at plus 150. You can look at the over 1.5, but it's too highly juiced. And then I do think Edmonton on the puck line for a nice big win is the way to go in this one. These two teams trend to that over, and with Minnesota on the second night of a back-to-back, I do expect it to go over that total. Edmonton, though, held the Carolina Hurricanes to 1 goal. That is scary. So Edmonton's team total, I probably prefer more. Now, a couple of different things you can mess around with that parlay. Edmonton on the money line, over 5.5, and Connor McDavid for the first goal. That's coming in at plus 1150. I don't hate it, you guys. And then another one that I built there, the Oilers to win over 1.5 in the first period and 2+ goals for Connor McDavid. That coming in at plus 650. So I bet both of those parlays, I put a couple bucks on it. You guys know when you're betting a parlay not to put a lot of money on it. It's just dangerous out there. And I am looking for the Connor McDavid show. But just if my hat trick hits at plus 3,000 for Connor McDavid, I'm going to be excited because I've won money, but then I have to spend that money to buy a jersey to cover my bet. So I'm kind of okay if he doesn't get the hat trick. So if you guys want to tail the hat trick, go for it. But I'm not rooting for the hat trick to cash in this one. It's what you do when you bet something silly. Okay, you guys, let's do a quick recap and let you guys get on with your day. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday. It is snowing here in YYC. I've shoveled 3 times and the snow's still coming down. I'm going to have to shovel a fourth time. Okay. You guys ready for the recap? The St. Louis Blues and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I do think the Columbus Blue Jackets, even though on a back-to-back and having to travel home, have a nice advantage here at home. This rookie goalie they're bringing up, I'm going to have faith in him. The St. Louis Blues don't get a lot of shots on goal, and I just don't trust Hofer in goal for them. I do think Columbus has a value at home in this one. I also like Von Jenner for that anytime goal coming in at plus 180. Robert Thomas here for the assist for the St. Louis Blues. I don't hate. That's coming in at minus 115. Johnny Gaudreau really needs to step up in this game. Who knows if he's going to. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers. You guys, for me, I'm trusting the Florida Panthers here on home ice. I'm going to look at Bobrovsky to have a solid night. I wouldn't take his save shots on goal because the Florida Panthers do a really good job defensively of limiting their opponent's ability to get those shots. The Panthers team total sitting at 3.5. I do like that to the over at minus 110. But what I prefer in this one, the first team to score in the first period for the Florida Panthers coming in at plus 105. And I also think you can look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here, team total under 2.5. The Minnesota Wild and the Edmonton Oilers. You guys go big or go home on Edmonton is kind of how I'm feeling in this one tonight. Give me the Edmonton Oilers to score the first goal in the first period. That coming in at minus 105. Give me both teams to score, though, in the first period. That coming in at plus 150. I do think Connor McDavid can have a really solid game in this one. You can take Connor McDavid here for the first goal. I'm also going to take Evan Bouchard, 3+ shots on goal coming in at plus 100. Those parlays that I threw together, Edmonton on the money line, over 5.5, and Connor McDavid for the first goal of the game coming in at plus 1150. And then the other 3-leg parlay, the Oilers to get the win, over 1.5 in the first period, and Connor McDavid 2+ goals in this game. That comes in at plus 650. That's the recap. That's everything I've got. I do like Hyman here. You've got to look at him and Kane. And oh, don't forget the birthday boy, Jen Mark, coming in here. 31st birthday, 500th game in the league, and he's only got 1 goal this season. But he's plus 550 for a goal tonight. You can look at his assists here. We definitely know those assists could come. He got 3 assists last game versus Carolina, only 4 on the season. So we're asking a lot, but he's a birthday boy out there, and who doesn't love those kind of storylines? You guys, I wish you all the best. Again, hit those notification buttons so you know when we're live tomorrow. We'll probably be live pretty early. I am on Sports Grid later tonight as well as tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. If you're looking to follow over on Sports Grid, you definitely should. There's so much on the app. Go download it at the Google Store, Apple Store, You can follow me. You can follow all the hosts over there. So yeah, shoveling with snow, shoveling with Joe. That's a hard one to say. That is what I'm going to be doing next. But you guys, all the best. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice tonight. I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye now.